For those of you that don't know, I am Thomas. I am from Australia originally, but actually right now, and for the last 7 years, I have been living in Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam, in the south of Vietnam here. And I am an IELTS teacher, so I am working on a regular basis with students who are pursuing the IELTS exam. And it's an interesting career for me, I would say. I do enjoy working with goal-oriented students, students who want to change their life, who want to pursue excellence. And so it's a great opportunity to connect with some of you guys here today. And for today's webinar, we're going to be looking at the agree, disagree question type, which is on the writing task 2 paper. And first of all, before we even take a look at that, I would like to ask you all, with the writing, if you're stuck at band 6 or 6.5 or perhaps band 4 or 5, what is the thing that do you think is the most difficult thing about writing? Is it A, grammar? Is it B, vocabulary? Is it C, answering the question? Or is it D, linking your ideas together? I should write these on the board, guys, and maybe you can see it more clearly. Is it grammar, vocab? We have also here linking ideas, answering question. It's not coming up very nicely. Let's see if I can get a different color here. Yeah, so those are the 4 options, guys. All of them, some of you are saying. Answering the question. We have a couple of ideas here. Vocabulary. Let me let a few more answers come through. Okay, B and D. So what's that? Vocabulary and answering the question. Good stuff. All of them. Okay, so I mean, in today's webinar, we will go through all of them. I'm just curious to see what you guys find challenging. C, linking ideas. Interesting. I didn't see many of you guys write grammar. Let's see, did anybody write A? Specifically, A and B, A and C. Okay, some of you guys mentioned it. A lot of students don't realize how important grammar is to writing. So of course, vocabulary is important, but if you make a lot of grammar mistakes, not just that, if you don't vary the style of your sentences, it's difficult to get to band 7, I would say. So if you're kind of on the edge there, grammatical range and accuracy is probably the thing you want to improve on. You can get a description of what that is by going to the IELTS website or just searching online. What does it mean? But yeah, there are 4 areas that the examiner will look at when they mark your paper. All right, so now that we have taken a look at that, let's move on. So in today's webinar, we're going to understand the agree and disagree question. We're going to look at planning our essay using a simple structure. We're also going to use linking expressions to develop our arguments. We're going to make concessions as well here. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what that means, what concessions are. And finally, we're going to discuss various vocabulary that you can use in your answer. Okay. So the question on the board here, you guys can see it coming up. Rising university fees and scarce employment prospects for graduates. Sorry, my screen is in the way here. Let me start again. Rising university fees and scarce employment prospects for graduates have led some people to say that universities should not teach art subjects like philosophy and history and only offer practical degree courses that maximize chances of employment. To what extent do you agree or disagree? So guys, when you see this question, to what extent, you need to answer that very clearly in your answer. So what does that mean? That doesn't just mean, yes, I agree, yes, I disagree. It means how much? How much do I agree? Is it like a lot or is it just a little bit? So you should say that in your answer. So one way you can do this is by saying, I uh, I somewhat agree with the idea, or you can say, I strongly agree with the point of view. So saying this will show, okay, this person has a very, very strong opinion. They are very much on this side of the debate. Or I somewhat means they have less strength in their opinion. So you can go ahead and try that one. Oh, guys, I see some of you are raising your hands. Now, we will be doing this webinar mostly in the chat box. You guys can give your answers there in writing. If you have another question about IELTS, but not to do with this topic we are looking at here, we're going to answer those questions at the end of the webinar. So go ahead and put your question in the Q&A box in the Zoom toolbar, or just write it down and you can ask it at the end. I will leave about 5-10 minutes there at the end of today's webinar. Okay, so we do a few things when we read this question. When we get this paper, we have 40 minutes. We know about 40 minutes to write our essay. We should read it very carefully. And in fact, I'll just give myself a mental note. I have 10 minutes maximum, and I'm going to use that 10 minutes to really understand the question, write down some notes, plan my ideas, come to my opinion. And after the 10 minutes, I cannot go back. I cannot change anything. So I'm going to use this thinking time. I'm going to focus. Don't just go straight away to the question. Okay, here's the question. I'm going to write my essay after 2 minutes. No, that's the wrong approach, because you won't get to the best idea that's possible for you. And also you're going to start to make changes during your essay. It's not going to flow. It could work out, but it could also be a bit of a disaster. So planning is very good. You can write 250 words with some practice in 30 minutes. I can write it in 20 minutes. So I think you guys can do it in 30 minutes, no problem. But you want to practice that first. Okay, and we go through and we start underlining some of these. These ones are the most important, yeah, the most important vocabulary. For example, university should not teach art subjects is important. Practical degrees is important. Employment as well. Yeah, sorry guys if my voice is breaking a little bit. Yeah, I had a bit of troubles today, so hopefully it lasts the rest of this day, this webinar. Okay, and we should also decide on our answer at this stage as well. So we break the argument into two pieces. The agree and disagree. We want to brainstorm ideas for both of those. Okay, so we want an idea to back up the question. So what do you guys think? Let me give you 30 seconds to think of that. So to give you guys an idea, what I'm looking at is something like this. It's unfair to charge money for courses with no practical value. So you just kind of write down some notes about what your idea might be. And we're agreeing here that art subjects are not important. Why could that be true? Have another think. Okay, so we have an answer here. Subjects such as philosophy and history are not practical in recent years. Yeah, that's a good point for sure. Although it kind of says that in the question, so you want to give a little bit more. Art subjects help understanding maths, computer science. They broaden them. Okay, so I'm seeing some difficulties here with the idea. Oh, okay, Diego's got it. So they make more money. So you could say that these subjects, art subjects, do not make enough money. So you kind of go the opposite side here. You can also say that such subjects are more useful to society than arts and history and things like that. You may need to give some more information when you're writing about why that's the case. So more useful to society. Okay, so how about, let's see, one more idea here. If you excel in arts and reach a certain level, you can eventually make money. So Mohammed, this is, I disagree. Your idea would go in the next point here. So yeah, at this stage, we're going to give points for both sides, but in the essay, we will just write about one side. Some people enjoy these subjects as a hobby. Okay, that could be a useful thing as well. All right, let's have a look at the next point. So why would you disagree with this argument? That in fact, art subjects are important as well. How can you give some support to this? So Nissini says that courses like art are less common, so they become a niche. So they could potentially offer more pay if you get special skills in those areas. Okay, that's interesting. Very good idea. IS says art subjects learn or teach, I think you mean teach people how to think. It widens their mind. Good. Okay, and I think most of you guys are talking about the skills such as creativity and critical thinking that can be fostered. Let's look at what they said here. They mention art subjects teach valuable critical thinking skills as well, which some of you guys mentioned. Also, knowledge of culture and history contributes to society. So there you go. Those are a couple of ideas that you might talk about in your essay. And I see some really interesting ideas coming in the chat box as well. Okay, but I think we'll move on to looking at how all of this comes together. And this brings us to planning. or sorry, we've just taken a look at planning, so spend a good amount of time there. And the next point, and even maybe as part of your planning, you will start to think about the vocabulary, and you will underline those and think of different ways to say those things. And we have a few points here that you could choose from. There might be more. Some of them are art subjects, practical courses, teach, and we also have here chances of an employment. So we'll think about different ways to say those things. Here we've got humanities is one of them. And what do you guys think? Which vocabulary does this match with? Okay, number one, very interesting. Yeah, good stuff. Okay, that is correct. Now, with these paraphrases, you don't always want to choose the most advanced thing that you can think of. So, I mean, this is pretty advanced. But you want to just think of coming up with a different way to say the same thing, sometimes using the same meaning by a different word. So an example of that would be teach and develop. Yeah, the develop is not such an advanced word, but it helps you to change your wording a little bit. Okay, what about the arts? Where does that go next? Number one, yeah, that's a pretty easy one. Job opportunities. Job opportunities, where could that go? Number four, yes. How about vocational disciplines? Vocational disciplines, number two, yeah, good stuff. But vocation is kind of similar to a job, but you don't need to have a university degree. You would have some training. Yeah, so perhaps you take a course for a year and you get like physical, practical training on how to do something. Okay, how about I want to instill something in you? Yeah, it's good. Number three, employability. To instill means to try to show you something, and that skill will be inside of you forever. So you're trying to light a fire inside somebody, make it so it is inside them forever. It's something that they own. Yeah, instill values, share something with somebody. Okay, next one, promote. Promote is going to be teach, number three, for those of you guys got it. Okay, how can we say STEM in a different way? STEM subjects. Number two, practical courses. Yeah, STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, I think it is. So core academic subjects. You could even say academic subjects here. Right, how about the next one? Good stuff. Okay, here we got studying culture and society. Those could be often related to arts, and the opposite, really, doing different things here. Okay, guys, so if you could use one or two of these words when you refer to the same thing again in your essay, that will really help out, especially with your score for vocabulary. Okay, so another thing to think about is the structure that you are going to employ in your essay. And I will suggest you this one. It basically comes together like this. So you've got an introduction, a body, and a conclusion. And yeah, so make sure you do these two things in your intro. You've got paraphrase. We've just talked about that. I will show you an example in a moment, and get this one in there as well, thesis statement. So what is a thesis statement? Actually, can any of you guys tell me? I'll give you a few seconds to think about that. Okay, stating the main idea, the main opinion. Yeah, so overview, I think somebody said, yeah, stating what you're going to do in the essay. In the body paragraphs, we have here topic, sentence, explain, example, and that's usually talking about what your idea is, why it is related to the question, why it is important. Maybe give an example if you can. And then the final point here is to make an argument which is different to what you just said, or tell the reader the limitation of what you just said if you are trying to show that this first body paragraph is less important. Now, if you're trying to show it is important, what you will do is add more information to why it's relevant. In the conclusion, we will restate main points and we will definitely sum up our opinion. In this essay, we're going to see that they make a recommendation as well. Okay, so what we're looking for here is synonyms in the intro. We don't have to change everything, but try to change a good deal of it. So we have given the increasing costs of university tuition. Tuition is another word for fees. And limited graduate opportunities. Limited is another way to say scarce. It is often suggested that is, in fact, this is a very academic phrase. So you will see this one very often in introductions. Try to memorize that one because you will use it. And you don't need to try to think too much when you're in the exam. Can you guys think of another way to say it is often suggested that? Yeah, so guys, if you have general questions, let's discuss them at the end of the webinar. You can write them down or put them in the Q&A box. I'll go through them at the end. We have some answers here. It is often argued that, it is often claimed that, it is believed that. Okay, so you guys are on the right track there. So I'll just forward some of the other options here. And you can see that they look fairly similar, and they are saying pretty much the same thing. Just a different way to write it. There we go. It is commonly held that most people hold the view that. All right, and we'll just finish this sentence off and we'll say it is often suggested that universities focus solely on degree courses, which are practical rather than artistic subjects. And yeah, now we're going to move into the body paragraphs. Before we do that, we do need the thesis statement. So we can say something like, however, I strongly disagree with this point of view, as I believe that subjects such as art and philosophy can still instill valuable critical thinking skills while also making a significant contribution to society as a whole. So this person is saying that they do not agree at all with this this statement here that the examiner has provided to us, and they're giving just a sneak peek about what they're writing. They will mention, summarize their ideas. They allow for valuable critical thinking skills. They haven't explained it, but they have shown us, signposted what they are going to talk about. And here we will write about that in the body paragraphs. And we start off with something like, first of all, studying the humanities can help critical thinking skills or help develop critical thinking skills, which are useful in a range of careers. Okay, so this point here is the topic sentence. It tells us what the paragraph is going to be about, that key point, critical thinking skills, not just learned in STEM subjects, but it can also be learned in humanities. And by studying these subjects, students become active thinkers who are able to solve problems, evaluate different options, and make reasoned decisions. So all evidence of critical thinking skills. These skills are transferable to many different careers, such as law, politics, or education. So if you have an art degree, maybe you can work in many different careers as well. I would say yes, yes. You might need to change this idea, because I think somebody who wants to become a lawyer, they may need to do a law degree, not art degree. So I'm not sure I agree with this, but there are many careers where you maybe don't need the degree, like business. You can do an art degree and become a business person. Yeah. See some of you guys laughing. Yeah, law requires a lot of commitment, I would say, just like being a doctor does. Yeah, law is hard. Medicine as well. I don't think a doctor could train as an artist and become a doctor. It might be like very beautiful to think about that. The doctor, the surgeon in the medical room, creating art for their patients and the human body. But yeah, in practice, no, that probably doesn't work. So here we have the concession statement I was talking about before here. This is the concession statement, very advanced. If you're looking for band 7 or above, I would be looking this up, and I would be trying to practice some of these sentences here. It says, therefore, although it appears that studying the humanities will not help graduates find a rewarding job, it can be argued that these skills, in fact, increase their employability. So many people are saying that it won't lead to jobs, but in fact, they help to build skills. So they probably do lead to jobs, is what this person is saying there. They're arguing against the main belief. So yeah, they're pointing out that there is a limitation to this argument that people are using. So take an argument and make it seem like less important, make it seem limited. That's all about what a concession. Yeah, that's what the concession is usually. Or sometimes if you're arguing against an opinion, you can just say the limitation of this idea. So that would be something to work on in another lesson, I think. Yeah. Okay. Guys, again, if you're looking for the upper band scores, if you're looking for a band 5 or 6, it's really important just to demonstrate a bit of variety in your vocabulary, write proper sentences without, you can make grammar mistakes as well. That's not a big deal. Write 250 words and answer the question. That's what you got to do for band 5 and 6. But if you're really trying to get a higher score, here's another technique. So you need to connect that the humanities relates to this pronoun these in the sentence and not repeat the humanities too many times. And this is related to referencing vocabulary or referencing cohesive devices. I'm sure, guys, if you just look up referencing words, you will find example sentences online. You should practice those sentences to get used to it. and the examiner is definitely looking out for this connection here. Okay, so that's that. Let me just clear my screen here. Okay, so now we have body paragraph number 2. Here we are disagreeing this time. And we are saying, furthermore, expertise in subjects such as art and history allows graduates to contribute to our wider civil society. This is because knowledge of culture and history is an essential part of any civilized country. So yeah, we can see that there's an additional point, which is that it helps people to contribute to the world. And yeah, it's important for any advanced country. If they want to become advanced, they should study these areas. Why? Now we understand when they give us an example. They said, without an understanding of history, for example, we would be unable to learn from the mistakes of the past. So there is a certain value in studying history. Okay, the next point is coming up here. While there is no question about the value of science, medicine, and business in our lives, it is clear that the humanities also make a valuable contribution. Okay, so relating that both areas are indeed important. So just quickly before we move on to discuss the meaning of some of these highlighted words in orange and yellow, these are all cohesive devices. Now, when you are writing your essay, make sure to write a comma at the end of this word. Here is another example. This is because this one is a little bit different. It's a sentence, it's a phrase, so you don't actually need the comma there. For example, another one. Additionally, while, whereas, similarly, as a result, these are all linking words. And you want to include about 2 or 3 of these in each of your paragraphs, yeah? Okay, so now we come to the conclusion. And what we're doing here, as we said, was we're not going to repeat any of the, excuse me, I should say that again. We are going to repeat things. We're not going to add new information at this stage. We're not going to try to come up with loads of ideas, more ideas to support our opinion. We're actually just restating or reiterating what we have already said. Anyway, this person says, in conclusion, it is illogical to suggest that the arts should not be taught in universities, as the critical thinking skills and cultural knowledge they develop benefits both graduates and societies. So they're saying here they've focused on the benefits that these subjects can provide and revealed this to everybody. And at the end, they have something here. They have a recommendation. So I recommend that universities make instruction in these subjects available to all students. So they've finished off this essay here by recommending to the reader or recommending to society that in fact they should focus on all kinds of subjects. It's a good idea. Yeah. So that is the conclusion here. Usually the conclusion should be the shortest part of the essay. Let me make it a bit more visual, guys. So here, this one, you should learn the structure here. You should take the time to understand that there are 2 parts to this whole thing. 1 and 2. We take the topic, we rephrase it. Do this 100 times if you can. in your studies. Take a new topic, paraphrase it, take a new one. Maybe spend one day and just do 10 different questions and just focus on this sentence number one. You will get really good at this part, and this will give a very good impression if you start well at the essay as well. Another day, you may focus on thesis statements, this part here. So how do I introduce what I want to talk about? And then this is really where the money is made most of the time in task 2 essay. I can see when my students are doing this very well, when they've been practicing. I can see when they've spent time to think about their idea, because this is the most difficult part to do. So yeah, focus on taking an idea. What is my idea? And then just like, how can I develop it a bit further? How can I explain it? Some students are better explaining without visual examples, so they just refer to ideas related to it. That's okay too, but you need to develop your idea so that, you know, most of this time, this one will be 80 to 100 words in this one. So most of your essay is here, and usually I would say about 50 maximum. It can be less. And this one is just short, you know, it's 30 words. So most of your essay comes here and here, really, to be honest with you. So yeah, on a different day, you might practice, what is one idea I can talk about related to this essay? I'm going to write one paragraph, and I'm going to do this for 3 different topics. I'm just writing body 1. And you will get really good at it if you keep repeating the same exercise. And especially, as I said, repeat it on the same day can be a helpful way to drill that. Okay, guys, so that is the essay. That's how it looks if you guys want to take a screenshot of that one. Band 9 here. So band 9 is usually more than 250 words. All students need to write above 250 words. I would say to get band 5 or above. If you are band 4, maybe you could get away with writing less. But most of you guys will be looking to get a higher score. So yeah, band 7, band 6 is usually okay at the 250 level, but if you're going further than that, you should write a little bit more. And my suggestion, most students, they ask, can I write 300 words? Can I write 350 words? Well, by doing this, it will add nothing to your score, no extra points. And in fact, it takes longer and it leads to more mistakes. So you will be likely to make grammar mistakes. You will likely to be not getting your points clearly to the reader. So don't write too much more. Usually around 250 to 280 words would be a good amount. Okay, so don't start writing right away. Make sure you have a plan. Spend a good amount of time on this, maybe 5 to 10 minutes. Well, what is the pass mark? That's an interesting question. I'll go through some questions in a moment there, guys. Let's just finish up here. So don't worry about counting your words either. This is, I mean, if you're doing the computer exam, it will show up on the screen. But otherwise, guys, I have a tip for you, is you can actually just count how many lines there are in your essay if you're doing the paper one, and you can see 5, 6, what's that? Another 5, so that's 16. It's about 19, and I would say that there's probably 15 words in each of these sentences. So 19 times 15, you can say 20 times 15. That's 300 minus 115, so that's 285. So I could say, oh, I've probably got easily above 250 there. So that's kind of one way I count it. Most sentences would be about 15 words, but you should obviously check that with your writing. Okay, and you want to check for grammar and spelling. So how do you do that? No, my brother is a maths teacher. I'm an English teacher. You can ask him all the maths questions. I will surely not be able to answer them. So with grammar and spelling, guys, you can basically take your pen, and good way to do this is not to go from the beginning because you will read the ideas, but you go backwards in the essay. You say, okay, spelling is good, and you just go through with your pen and you look all the way up. Yeah, so go backwards. And you can see, oh, I made a mistake here. Let me check that one again. Thanks, guys. Okay, so yeah, make sure you're practicing with different topics, technology, environments, arts, and then maybe do one of those things on one particular day and focus with different questions on the same day.